Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today is a rainy Sunday afternoon in Tifton, Georgia, but I'm going to put together a little odds and ends video for you guys based on stuff we got stacking up over here, piling up. I want to share with you things that people have either sent in, gifts to the channel, some purchases, etc. like that, just new items for the shop. Some of you guys find this stuff interesting, and I like to share it. And I like to get my bench cleaned off every now and then too. So we try to do one of these every now and then. So before we get into the items here, I do want to mention one thing, and it's because it's coming up really quick. And I think Adam Booth has already mentioned this over on his YouTube channel, as well as maybe a couple of other guys. But this week, if you're watching this video when it comes out, February 17th, 2020, this coming week on Wednesday, February 19th, I'm going to be down at the Florida Flywheelers Tractor Show near Avon Park, Florida. I'm really looking forward to it. Been down to this event several times over the past few years. It's a great event. Lots of interesting stuff, a huge swap meet. But one of the things that we're going to do this year a little bit different is we're going to do a little meet and greet down at the Florida Flywheeler. So if by chance you are going to be in that area, and I know many of you are because I've already heard from you, or if you got the opportunity on short notice to run over there, we are going to have a little meet and greet on the afternoon of Wednesday, February 19th, 2020 at the Flywheelers show. And that is going to be held in the machine shop. They have a machine shop on the site there, and this is a working machine shop. They've got a little line shaft set up in there with some machines on display. So we're going to actually be there, and I know that several other YouTubers beside myself are going to be there. Adam Booth, I heard, is going to be there. Jim Bollinger. I'm trying to think of who else. I know there's some others. There was rumors that Mr. Pete may even show up. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So anyway, if you're around there and going to be there, please come by and visit us. We're going to start around 1:30 that afternoon and probably be around for a couple of hours. I'm not sure exactly how long that event will go on, but it'll start around 1 or 1:30 p.m. So invite folks to come out for that. And with that, let's get in here and start working through these items. So up first here are some miscellaneous items that I picked up this year at the Midwest Tool Collectors Association Peach Meet. So every year, usually around the end of January, 1st of February, they have an event called the Peach Meet, which is where members of the Midwest Tool Collectors Association come together in Madison, Georgia, a couple hours north of me, and they have all kinds of tools for sale. And basically people have big tables and it's in a big meeting room. You go around, just look and see. Most of it is more woodworking oriented, and I have bought a bunch of woodworking tools over the years. My interests have obviously be more related to metalworking these days, but I picked up some interesting things there. Picked up a few things. Didn't pick up a whole lot, but there were a few things that I picked up that I thought I'd share with you guys. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the crown jewel to me of the day was this piece right here. And I shared this over on Instagram and Facebook a couple of weeks ago and had a lot of comments on it. But I just thought it was really neat. So this is a block of wood. This is original from the factory. They made this way. And it's basically for holding different scales or rules, precision scales or rules. And these are made, this is made by the Sawyer Manufacturing Company. And what we got in here is you come in here and you pull these out, and they're little scales. So that's a 1-inch scale. I'll see if I can lay it up here on there. There's a 2-incher. Let's see. That one there's a 3. This one here is a 4. We've also got a 4 down here. This is a narrow 4-incher. And we come down here. Of course, that's our 6-inch. And we have a 9-inch. That's an unusual size. So a lot of these are unusual sizes. And a 12-inch. And then right here, get these other ones out of my way. And right here we have our little threading tool, fishtail, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, just a nice little case to hold all these items in here in one little spot. some unusual size scales that you don't normally see. This is again made by the Sawyer Tool Manufacturing Company out of, what was it, Fitchburg? Or that says, yeah, Fitchburg, Massachusetts. That one says Ashburnham, Massachusetts, so maybe they moved at some point in time. I'm not sure. Don't know a lot about the history of this company, but that little 3-inch, 2-inch, and 1-inch rule are just really cool. So when I got this, honestly, it was missing a couple of items in there, but thanks to some people that were able to help me out on Facebook and Instagram, they found an old catalog that showed this in there, told me exactly what was missing in my slots. And through the power of eBay, I was able to fairly easily pick up the couple of missing pieces for this. But anyway, I just thought that was really cool. Picked up a couple of indicators. This one was the first one I picked up of the day. This one's interesting. It's a Starrett, and I really like the face on this one. I don't know when that dates to. It's a thousandth, actually half-thousandth increments on this one. It does work. It's a little bit sticky. I'll probably send it off to Mark Rotowski and have him rework it. Because it's just not quite as responsive as I would like. And it also came with the inside hole attachment. So if you're not familiar with this, you would put this on the tip down here like such and tighten that up. Now I can go up inside of a hole and indicate, and it kind of seesaws on there to give you your indication up inside of a hole. So anyway, pretty cool. And I thought it was kind of funny because I've got a lot of indicators. I don't have a Starrett with that background on it, and lo and behold, I picked up another one the same day. And this one guy actually gave me because it's kind of well, the face is on there. It does work, but it's really depending on when you hit this thing, it almost sounds like it's grinding in there. It's working pretty good right now. Something's going on inside. But what's really cool about this one is, look right here, it says Kearney and Trucker. Has that back there on the dial printed. So this was one that came with a K&T milling machine, more than likely, but it is definitely a Starrett. It says a Starrett on here, but it's badge K&T. And this is another one he gave me. This is a back plunge Federal. It's working, but very sticky, needs a new crystal. I'll send all these off to Mark Rotowski and get him to rebuild them. Here was just a set of punches. I've actually already used this. You probably may have seen it in one of my recent videos, but I use it to punch some leather. So I had a 1/2-inch punch there. I need to punch a 1/2-inch hole in a piece of leather. Worked out perfect. You can use these on gaskets. You can use them on all kinds of things. And very nice set here, $12. Couldn't turn that down. Same guy also had this piece here. This is a Greenlee set of knockout punches for doing electrical work. So if you need for conduit and whatever, a full complete set in the leather pouch, a little rusty but in good shape. It's just surface rust. They're actually in excellent shape. And I couldn't believe it when I walked past it. He had $8 on that. If you go buy one of these, they're rather expensive. And my friend John Sermons, he met me there at the meet, and he had picked up somewhere along the way a whole box of 1/4-inch high-speed steel tool bits, totally unground, and he was kind enough, he gave that to me as well. So anyway, some neat items from the Midwest Tool Collectors Association Peach Meet. Next item in, this was a purchase I made. Actually made a contact with a gentleman over on Instagram who had seen some stuff of me using my auto collimator and contacted me, told me he had a mirror for an auto collimator. And this is a 3.5-inch adjustable mirror. It's on a 3-pad base on there where you can use this when shooting with an auto collimator. This is a very precision ground, very flat mirror, much flatter than a typical mirror that's used for doing alignment work with that auto collimator. I've showed that using that tool recently. And by the way, this individual has a auto collimator with a set of mirrors and everything, a complete setup made by the same company here. What is that, Morgan? I'm not sure exactly how you say that, but he has a complete set of auto collimator, a couple of mirrors that go with it. I can't remember what all is with that set, but pretty much a set ready to go. So if anybody's interested in auto collimator set, I think he wants $1,200 for everything. Send me a message, send me an email, and I'll hook you up with them. But anyway, very nice mirror to use with the auto collimator. Next item here comes from Chad Johnson out in California, and Chad sent in a couple of items here. We got a couple of face mills. These are, for the most part, indexable types, where you can put in different types of inserts into these. This is an older school type where you wedge those in there. This one fits up on a tool holder on like a horizontal or vertical mill, and again you got different types of inserts that go in there. Also has some really nice Kennametal lathe tools here, and these take a round insert. I need to figure out what insert those take, because those are something that I'm sure I could use. I have a need every now and then to put a radius down in the bottom of something, and that's a nice indexable piece of tool that you can use for those. So anyway, Chad, thanks for sending those along. I'll put these up with my tooling, and you never know, like I said many times, you never know what job's going to come up where you need something like this. So I always like to try to stockpile this type stuff, because like I said, you just never know when you're going to need it. So thanks a lot for sending it in. Next up here, got a neat little shop-made item sent in from my buddy Don Dotson, who's out in Oregon. I've met Don several times. He's also a fellow YouTuber, and we met at the Bash and it's a couple other events. But anyway, Don had promised me a long time ago that he was going to build me an inspection hammer, and this is something that was used on the railroads when they were inspecting the steam locomotives. One of the things that they would always do is go around and they would tap at where there were bearings and joints and connectors and stuff like that to make sure that something wasn't looser than what it needed to be. It may look tight, but when you tap on it, sometimes it'll move. You can see excessive wear, etc. So there was a special hammer they used to do this with, and this is a copy of that he kind of turned out on his lathe. He didn't have the ability to put the hole in there for the handle, so he left that job for me, which should not be a bad problem to do over on the milling machine. But anyway, Don, thanks a lot. It was great hearing from you, and I know he apologized because he promised this was something he was going to do a long time ago. I had totally forgotten about it, but he finally said he got that round to it and got it done. So Don, thanks for sending that in, and we'll see if we can get that finished up here pretty soon, get a handle put in there. So up next here, actually I got a good many items here that I'm going to be showing you that were brought down by William Hoover. William lives up in Kentucky, and he contacted me, it's been over a year ago, said he wanted to stop by on a trip down to Florida, had some stuff he wanted to bring to me, and had a couple of things he wanted to work out a deal on if possible. And unfortunately, he had to cancel the trip, and anyway, he was making the trip recently and was able to work it out where he could stop by. So first thing I'm going to show you here are a couple of straight edges, and these actually were from a friend of Williams. Or Bill, he goes by Bill, but he had these straight edges. I think he told me that he used to work for Fruit of the Loom and their maintenance department, and they had these actually at the Fruit of the Loom factory. A co-worker of his ended up with them when they shut the plant down. He didn't have a need for them, knew that I use these types of tooling, and anyway, he brought them along, and we did a little bit of horse trading on this one. His friend was looking for something in particular. It just so happened that I had just the item that he was looking for, so we were able to work out a trade, and I picked up these two really nice Camelback straight edges. This one is a 3-foot, this one is a 5-foot, and they're both made by Challenge, which is a really nice maker of these, and appear to be in great shape. I need to get them over on the surface plate and just test them out, tune them up if necessary, but they appear to be in great shape. Don't look like they hardly ever been used, honestly. So anyway, this will make a nice addition to my straight edge collection on the Camelbacks like this without the dovetails. Just the straight ones. I've got a 6-footer. Now I've got this 5-footer. I picked up a 4-foot one, a brown sharp one at Arnfest, and I have this 3-foot one. And I think the 3-foot one is, it's the smallest one of the ones without dovetails. And then when you put the dovetail ones on here, I've got a 3-foot, an 18-inch, the 9-inch one that I'm making and selling, and I think that's what I've got right now. So nice little selection of straight edges that I've been able to put together. And Bill, thanks for bringing these down for me, and I hope your friend enjoys what we did some trading with. Bill also brought down some other items, so let me get this cleared off. I'm going to show you some of this other stuff he brought down as well. Bill also brought along a nice little stack of some horizontal cutters. Again, this is something you just don't ever know what you're going to need until you need it, so I'm going to put these over in my cabinet with my other horizontal cutters, and we'll have them down the road. Bill also brought along a nice little Wilton quick release woodworker's vise. Mount up on a bench. Another nice little item to have around the shop. I've got some similar to this on a couple of my woodworking benches, and these are really handy to have. I'll probably get this thing mounted up, even in the metal shop, guys. Those are nice to have. I might see if I can't get one of these mounted on one of my benches just to use in general. A couple other nice little items here that Bill threw in as well. So this here is for putting two scales together. So you can take two machinist scales, butt them up together, clamp them in there. So say if you got two 6-inch scales and you need a 12-inch scale, you can just butt them up. These most machinist scales are actually very accurate on the length, so you can butt them together. This just clamp together. This is a little tool made by Starrett. Very nice little handy tool to have. This is actually an early style indicator. This one's made by Lufkin. But instead of having a dial, you see that back here on the back, it just has a scale. And if you watch, there's a little piece that moves based on how it's moving. So it's only got 10,000ths resolution. But anyway, it's a cool little Lufkin indicator. And then this is really neat. This is for using on the surface grinder for grinding your wheels in. So you can take a diamond tool, put in the top of this. But what's really neat is this is adjustable. So a lot of times when you're surface grinding, you need to adjust the wheel up and down long distances to get to your diamond to dress. So if you got something kind of tall, you can put this on there, leave it set up on the table, and have it at more or less the right height to dress your wheel. So this is a little shop-made tool. It just has a set screw in the side there to adjust the height. This is something that I'm quite positive will get used. I'm actually excited to have that. Just showing this little scale clamp, putting two 6-inch scales together to make a 12-inch scale. You can even use different width scales, not a problem. These are made by a lot of different companies. This one happens to be a Lufkin. It is a number 8, it looks like. I'm not sure what the Starrett number is, but Starrett has one that's virtually identical to it. Brown and Sharp probably made them as well. But anyway, nice little tool to have. Bill also sent along a nice little collection of books here for the library, and I'm not going to go over each and every one of these, but nice little selection. Some of these are machine shop related, some are more engineering related. These over here are some correspondence course type books from the 30s and 40s. Got a Lufkin tool catalog. We were just talking about Lufkin and about how they made good quality machinist tools, precision tools, and here's a catalog. You know, they had the same type of stuff as Starrett and Brown and Sharp. And like I said before, a lot of times people, when they talk about machinist tools, Starrett's the first thing that comes to mind. But these are Lufkin made good quality stuff. And look, there's your number 8 rule clamp that we were just showing right there. And the last little part of what Bill brought over was this really cute and really neat little Atlas horizontal milling machine. This actually appears to be in pretty decent shape, and it appears to be in pretty complete condition as well. And now Bill specifically asked on this, he says, what I want you to do with that is I want you to do some type of giveaway with it. So we're going to think about how we want to do that. But my thought is that before we give this thing away, we do a full-blown restoration on it, do a series of videos on it. I think this would be a really good tool to show in a restoration on how to re-scrape in a milling machine, and particularly a horizontal milling machine where you got some things you got to get it parallel to or perpendicular to the spindle and some things like that. There's some tricks to do it in this type of a machine. And this would be a cool little item to do that in fairly quickly and fairly easily without having to have gantry cranes to lift parts and spend hours and hours and hours of having to scrape things in. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts. More to that to come later on. I don't know when I can work this into my into the lineup of things that needs to be done around here, but that is definitely something we'll look at doing down the road. Well, there you go, guys. That will be a wrap on this episode of Odds and Ends. As always, appreciate you watching. Hope to see some of you guys down at the Flywheelers event here later this week down in Florida. And with that, guys, we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.